worry about these countries who are fighting with each other.
As an individual, we can't do something, but we have our foreign ministers, we have our government who is working on this.
What is that one thing that is creating a hurdle or that is creating issue becoming India as a superpower?
Self-dependence should be one of the reasons. At the same time, India needs to learn that we need to charge tariffs as we are charging on USA. At the same time, we need to learn how to defend it. North Korea doesn't even need anything from India, doesn't even need anything from the United States. They, sir, don't even care what's happening in geopolitics. So for them, globalization means nothing.
Hello guys, today we have with us Dhruvraj and today we are talking about the very what I would say unique topic about the politics. We are not talking about any Indian politics. We will be talking about the international politics. Let's see what are the impacts that international politics have on us, our lives and its impact, and why is it so much important to us and for India. We may have heard this vocabulary many of the times, but we exactly don't know the implications. Let's learn everything from him only. Hello, yes. So tell our viewers that first of all, let's assume that our viewers don't know anything about the international politics. They just have heard this word the first time in their life. How do you explain this concept?
So basically, international politics is something, sir, which affects our day-to-day life. Like we can say, sir, we came here from our vehicle. We know that Reliance is one of the biggest refineries of crude oil. But sir, the country from where we buy, purchase the crude oil is Russia. Then what affects this crude price? It affects the war. Recently, we had Russia-Ukraine war. We don't have our fifth generation aircrafts. We are highly dependent on other countries like France, USA. So all these things which controls our defense, controls our day-to-day life, and all the policies, politics about international, which may affect our daily life. That's known as something like international politics.
Okay. So whatever is happening across all the nations and across all the countries is international politics.
Yeah.
Can we say that whatever the Trump is doing, like reciprocal tariff and
Yeah.
all, is it a part of international politics?
Yes, sir. Sir, when we saw Trump taking the oath, Trump had high tariffs on all the countries, including China, India, and every country. But recently, before few days, we have the reciprocal tariff, where Trump has reduced the tariff. So it's a huge benefit for India. It will also impact our exports and imports and overall GDP. So this is something how an international politics is affecting our life. Also, the national politics above the United States is now affecting our country. So that's what we can say international politics affects us.
Okay. So that means you are saying that if anything is happening between USA and China, or let's say the recent war we have seen Russia Ukraine, do we need to do anything or do we need to worry about these countries who are fighting with each other where India don't need to do anything? So does it impacting our life?
Sir, as our past, all we know is that fight between India Pakistan. We only used to worry about the politics or about the war whom we share border across. But right now, sir, as an individual, we can't do something, but we have our foreign ministers, we have our government who is working on this. And sir, we need to worry about this because the Israel-Palestine war, we have good relations with Israel. If we have Russia-Ukraine war, we also have good relation with both the countries. Our medical students are going in huge number to Ukraine for academics, and we have good relations with Russia. There was a time in past when we had war with Pakistan, and the UK and the USA came in the Indian Ocean with their naval ships. The only country who supported it was the Russian Federation. And right now, it's also important to take the stance of Russia in global politics. But at the same time, India need to follow their neutral policy to give medical aid to Ukraine. So this is something where India is holding their past and need to take stance of countries who supported them in past. At the current, they need to follow the policies, like to be neutral in everywhere. And also, sir, if we don't want to take a stance in most of the UN conferences, India is taking their stance as neutral. But sir, if in majority a bill gets passed, it's been supported by everyone, it will be, be in execution. If Russia wants to say something and wants to deliver something, if India and major of the countries are not supporting them, it may hold something where they will take actions in NATO. They will take some actions in BRICS, Like recently, US told that if BRICS will be, going further on, they will give more tariffs. So that was affecting our, foreign exchange rate. We saw dollar becoming all high recently. So this is something where everything is affecting, and India needs to take stance.
Right. Um, Frankly speaking, if we are talking about this international politics,
Yes, sir.
what I believe is that जब मोदी जी नए नए आए थे तब वो बहुत सारे फॉरेन कंट्रीज के साथ रिलेशन बना रहे थे and मोदी जी were traveling a lot. People used to create a meme and everything that oh Modi ji is spending so much money, why Modi ji is going here there, Modi ji is traveling and lot. What do you think about that? Modi ji were doing something positive related to this international politics?
Sir, when in 2014 the NDA government came, before that, sir, our Indian politics was not that connected with the geopolitics. We saw our previous Prime Minister not being someone who was being highlighted in all the summits. And when Narendra Modi was Chief Minister of Gujarat and take the oath as a Prime Minister, Modi told that India will be a superpower, India will be a global power. So to become a global power, it's very important to be known by everyone. A person, a citizen of any country should know what country India is, what India is doing, and what the motto of the NDA government after 2014 was for Modi to attend every summits, to attend every country possible, to let them know that what we are and what we are up to now. So all the motto and all the expectations of the government at that time was to highlight our country to the global world.
And to communicate with everyone,
Yeah.
so that let's see what kind of win-win
Mutual understanding.
comes into
Yes, sir.
picture. Now, the next question is that what should be our ideal policy, the international politics policy for India?
Sir, if we see the history of India, we know how it feels to be ruled by someone, the Britishers. We know how it feels to have a war with our neighbor and not to have support. We know how a single country can help us in middle of the war. We have seen everything. That's why till this date we aren't claiming a lot of parts near our border countries. And if it's about our policy, we can't have a one country policy, or like we can't support a one country in the United Nations until we are self-independent. Sir, for any country, one of the most important thing is self-defense, and India isn't that capable to produce their own arms. We are a lot of dependent on other countries, to the Western countries for that thing. Also, we are dependent on the Russian side. The Western and the Russian don't have good relations, but we need to take weapons from the Western. We need to take crude oil from the Russian side. Also, we don't know. We have a lot of tensions in our border. We can have POK. We can have exchange in a lot of stuff. Also, we have a lot of political instability in our neighbors. Bangladesh recently had strikes in their prime minister home and etc. So we can't give our point of view in the United Nations until we know that we can defend our country if anything happens.
Yes, that is more important.
And at the same time, we know how to value our neighbors. If it's about Bangladesh, no matter what happens to Hindus in Bangladesh, we will support Bangladesh as our foreign policy. Also, India has been a country who never starts a war. So those are the tags which India uses in the United Nations, that we are the country who never starts a war. So India don't want to lose this tag that we used to never start war and now we are doing so. So India is holding few tags of past which they want to continue, which is somehow affecting our foreign current policies.
Right. So, considering the current existing policies,
Yes, sir.
international policies, what do you think about that? Is it a balanced kind of policies opted by India?
It is balanced until there is no affairs on, there is no war in Asia. We saw tensions in Middle East. We saw tensions between Mexico and USA recently in the border. Until we don't have any war type situation with Pakistan or China, this policy will remain good. Until we have more nuclear powers, until we have more military compared to Pakistan or the country whom we are afraid of, until that's okay. If tomorrow we see Palestine, if we see Middle East countries who are possessing terrorism, getting nuclear powers, then for India won't be a good stance to support them. It won't be appropriate to supply medical aids to country who are possessing terrorism and nuclear powers. At that time, we need to learn how to give stance to one country. But before that, we need to learn how to be self-independent for all these stuffs.
Now, very interesting question that I wanted to ask is so long that what is that one thing that is creating a hurdle or that is creating issue to become in India as a superpower?
Sir, as I said earlier, self-dependence should be one of the reason. At the same time, sir, India needs to learn that we need to charge tariffs as we are charging on USA. At the same time, we need to learn how to defend it. Right now, sir, if we take China, China is exporting a lot of stuff to the world, but they are not taking any IT services. They are not using Google. They are not using Instagram. They have that Alibaba, a lot of things from who are generated in China itself. And we are a country who is highest user of Instagram, highest user of Google. What do you think, sir? We are the highest exporter of IT services. As a we can say like people working in call centers. We have people in India who is working in Google in call centers. But sir, overall the national income, international income, it's being supported by the United States. India need to learn that if we have the one of the highest population, if India has one of the highest creative minds, we need to generate our own search engines. We need to be highly dependent on ourselves. Our people feel good to wear H&M, Zara, but they are not comfortable with companies which are being, coming from India.
Vimal and all the
When the citizens of India will be supporting India, that will be a time then we can be a global power.
instead of consumption, we have to focus on the creation.
Yeah.
Yes, when India will start to create something, it will be able to export, right? And then always the corruption and the politics and the quality is also the
Yes,
whenever
sir.
India something
As we have Amazon and Flipkart both. Flipkart is an Indian company. But sir, if this situation will be same in China, there will be not a single user of Amazon. They will be using Flipkart because they will support their own country's app. But India has a tech that they want to use international brands for the standards and all. So when this society will change their perspective in this field, the overall income of India will increase and they will move to a global power.
Another thing that I feel is that the population in the USA is even if it is less, but everyone is working.
Yeah.
While in India, the opposite situation is totally opposite. Population is too much, but not everybody is working. If you take an example of let's say children, the housewives, the elders, none of them are working. Okay, so that is creating the impact on our GDP.
A lot, sir. A working student in the United States or in Europe country, they are ready to work part-time jobs. But India, they are thinking, if sir, आप यहाँ पे काम कर रहे हो आपके घर पे क्या बोलेंगे कि आपके घर में पैसे कम है, आपको काम करने की क्या ज़रूरत है. So that's a perspective. At the same time, sir, India can't be neutral if they want to be a global power. Sir, we can't. Sir, you won't be seeing any veto power being neutral. Every veto power country has their stance. India also got offer of a veto power, but we shifted to China. We give to China because we knew that if we will be using veto power in the United Nations, we need to give one stance. But India, since past, they have never been into this situation.
Now, when we talk about international politics, what do you think about the war? Like, war is a solution, or should we go for a peaceful democracy?
Again, sir, it depends on every country. Not every country is having democracy. Not every country is having one-party system. Not every country has a past. For example, to make our audience understand, we can have POK. Sir, what POK teaches us? Pakistan occupied Kashmir. The whole world knows that POK is our part. But sir, the United Nations is claiming different map. The China is claiming a different part of theirs. They claim Aksai. India claims a different map. Children studying in Rajkot, the students studying in Rajkot, see India as different, and a student studying in other countries see India as different. To make this balance, we need to support the United Nations, but it's not being as it should be. That's why every country is now using their own military to make everything stable. We have Jerusalem in Israel, capital, which is a holy place for the Muslim community as well as for the Jewish community. They can have peace and they can also have tourists from both the religions. But the only thing which is stopping is Hamas, a terrorist organization in Palestine. The Israeli government don't want Hamas to exist, obviously, because they want like to have terrorism in their neighbor. But Palestine see Hamas as their people who is freedom fighters. We have Al Jazeera and many websites who are claiming that civilians of Palestine see Hamas as their saviors. So this is the concept where ideologies are changing. So that's the only reason we are shifting to war. If nowadays, if we see, if UN takes an action and give POK to India, we won't have any further actions. If Pakistan claims that we have terrorism in our country, we won't be doing airstrikes. We will directly attack because we can say to the world that our neighbor is agreeing that they have terrorism. Yeah.
Now the last question is about the globalization. What do you think about? Is it a boon or is it a bad?
Again, sir, it depends on country. As I said earlier, not every country is democratic nor one-party system. For example, we have North Korea. North Korea doesn't even need anything from India, doesn't even need anything from the United States. They, sir, don't even care what's happening in geopolitics. So for them, globalization means nothing. For China, what globalization means? For them, globalization means to export IT services, to export apps like TikTok, which everyone will be using. For them, globalization means to give their products in cheaper price to other countries during their festivals. At Diwali time, we have most of our crackers from China. This is globalization for China. But for India, what's globalization? For us, globalization is to just export our goods and services of agriculture sector. So, in terms of globalization, a boon or ban, it is advantage for countries like China, whose exports are more than imports, and it's not good for India, whose imports are more than exports. For countries like United States, for them, sir, it really doesn't matter that exports and imports are more or high. They regulate everything on dollars, foreign exchange rate, on tariffs, on taxes. So globalization term and the advantage and disadvantage depends on every country and their policies.
Okay, great. So that means you are concluding that what kind of exports and imports you are doing. Okay, and do you have any kind of balance between those? Um, Whether you rely on heavily on something or
Yeah.
whether you have something called Make in India, that will determine that whether it's a boon or
Ben.
बिल्कुल सही. I agree with you. So thank you, Dhruvraj. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I hope everyone also have enjoyed the and have learned lots of the things about the international politics. There are a lot more to discuss, but currently due to limitation of time, we are ending this podcast. But again, before leaving, thank you, Dhruvraj, for this insightful podcast session.